Hi everyone, I'm Coach Wolverine, the owner and creator of the Wolverine Lifestyle and co-host to the channel A Conversation Over Drinks. I got a story to share with you guys today. I'm going to warn you right now, I learned a very valuable lesson through this story, but it does not have a happy ending. So if you're wanting to kind of skip on through this one, I completely understand. It was one of the largest perspective shifting moments of my life, and it's actually an anchor point for me to go back to when I get in my own head, kind of as just like a grounding or a self check. And this happened back when I was working in the nightclubs. I can't remember what position I was working at the time because I was moved around a lot, from going up the ladder. So I think it was when I was security supervisor. So it was probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. And it was the middle of winter, so it was nice and cold. And I got radioed over to go to the dance floor in one of the nightclubs. And I guess background story for those of you who don't know, in the city where I'm located, there's two clubs. There's a country bar and a top 40 EDM bar that were literally located next to each other, where they were actually connected with the same kitchen. So I was called over to the top 40 bar, and known as Bellini's, because there was a fight on the dance floor. So I arrived to the location, I see who it is, and I realized, I recognized his face, and I knew him, and he was not this kind of guy. He was not a troublemaker, but he was on a mission. So he had started a fight, and my doorman had got him and started escorting him out, and then on the way out he had started a handful of other fights. So we got him outside. He said he was going to leave. Nobody wanted any more trouble, so we thought. So it was about 15-20 minutes later, I get a radio call again saying to go back over to the country bar. So I go over there, and sure enough, it's the same gentleman. And he had assaulted a handful of people in the bar, and so my doorman had got him again and got him outside. Fortunately, by this point, he had assaulted too many people, so we had to call the RCMP to take him away. So at this point, my doorman have him surrounded. He is laying on the ground. He was not being detained or anything like that. The doormen were just surrounding him so he couldn't run away. And this patron is laying there, and he starts basically just thrashing. You could see that there's just this anger inside of him that he is trying to get out. And so he's hitting the ground. He's hitting his head off the ground. He's just I don't even know how to describe it without a person having witnessed something like this before, but I knew there was something not right. So RCMP come, they arrest him, they take him away. And it was about a week or so later, it was either a week or 2 weeks, it was on the weekend of course, where I find out that I had a mutual friend with this patron, and he was asking me about that night, and so I was kind of filling him in. And so I had asked him what he knew to try and fill in my gaps. And so what he had told me was the reason why this patron was acting this way is because he did have a lot of anger and rage inside of him that he was trying to get out. Because it was days before that night that he had walked in on his mom hanging from the ceiling. That story never gets easier to tell. So when he had filled me in, that it hit me like a brick wall, because nobody should ever have to go through that. And so when he had told, when the second patron told me this, I sat there in disbelief, and I then understood why he was acting that way, because I put myself in that position, and I don't know what I would do if that happened to me. And then it was in that moment that I realized that we have zero right, none whatsoever, to judge another person on their actions. Because we do not have a single clue about what is going on in their life, what demons they're battling. Now, I'm not saying that excuses behavior. Please do not cross those definitions. I'm not saying the behavior is excused. I'm saying we have no right to judge. Very different. Purely based on that foundation that we don't have a clue. We just don't. We might think we do, right? I know, we have a tendency of thinking psychically to create a scenario in our minds to prove ourselves right? Where our, intuition is telling us that this is the reason that this is happening. It's like, no, we have to be able to sit and receive judgment free. So that in itself was one of the biggest anchoring points in my life, because now whenever I catch myself feeling judgment towards somebody else, I remember that night. And then that's when I realized that, when we don't have any clue, that person that cuts you off in traffic, maybe they're racing to the hospital because it's the last time that they might say goodbye to their wife. Or, the cashier that is very rude to you at the grocery store. Maybe she just found out that she's losing custody of her kid. Or the waitress or waiter that doesn't give you the best service. Maybe they just lost one of their parents. The fact of the matter is we don't know. We don't. So it's important for us to always remember to just treat other people with kindness and not take things personally. Just because somebody might be treating us poorly doesn't mean it's a reflection of us. We have no idea what is going on in their life. They don't know how to cope with it. Because most of the time that we're going in those situations, we don't know how to cope with that either. So we have no right to place judgment on how other people are dealing with things when we ourselves don't know how to deal with the exact same things. This is life. We're all figuring it out as we go. And unfortunately, this is one that bugs me a lot when I hear of people making comments or placing judgment on somebody else when they don't have any idea. Right? Somebody placing judgment on somebody who's homeless when you have no idea why that person is homeless. Right? In any situation where a person places judgment on somebody else's actions and we have no idea where the belief to do that action is rooted. So that's it for today, guys. One of my biggest life-changing moments. If that's something that struck a different chord with you, let me know in the comments. That is it for everything. Well, that is it for today, guys. Please like, share, subscribe on whatever platform you are consuming this content on. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Take care.